Hey, Ramon, how are you? Welcome to the first episode of Data Over Coffee Mate.
Thank you very much, Arjun. Thank you, everyone, for joining to this podcast, which is a casual conversation that we're having here with my friend Arjun, and we'll be speaking about data.
Thanks, Ramon. So, before we jump into data, how was your week? How have you been? How's the family?
Wow, man, has been a crazy week. Has been a
Yeah.
crazy week. The weeks for me, since I have the opportunity to speak on Migrants in Tech. There's a event that it was carried out in Auckland, and I have the chance to present my story. After that presentation, the move has been moving so fast for me. I want to tell you that on Monday, I received a call from US, and they asked me to do a presentation in a conference in the Hilton Hotel. And I
Nice.
say, wow, that's huge.
That's big.
That is
That's
huge.
big. Congrats.
And I, without even hesitate, without checking even my calendar, I say right away, yes. And when this is happening? This Thursday. Jeepers.
Great.
So
you're
that
flying
means,
to US?
no. This what it was happening here in Auckland.
Okay.
The organization is from US, but
Yeah.
it's a international event that goes all around the world. And they say this is a conference about marketing, but we want you to come to explain us data concept. So I prepare a conference keynote. They gave me 40 minutes to present.
Yeah.
And it went really great. I tried to don't go too technical. I tried to went overviewing basic concepts, and people love it because there's a lot of unclarity in the tech world. So bringing some calm, it was really good. That was one of my highlights this week.
So that was the Data in Marketing conference that you did. I saw your LinkedIn post on that. It looked really interesting. Wish I was there. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll fill us with the details over the next few episodes and
for sure.
Maybe help
Absolutely.
everyone else,
Yeah.
Great. So do you want to talk about why we are doing this podcast, why this podcast exists? What is Data Over Coffee to our audience?
Wow, this is a good question, and also you will need to answer as well. So
Sure.
the reason why we came up with this idea to create a podcast about data is to bring data in simplification and to bring data to everyone. So if you are new in data and you just want to learn more about data, and you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are a teacher, or you're in the uni, and you want to understand how the data world looks like, this is a space where we'll bring in different data topics. We'll be speaking technical stuff, but at the same time, we won't be coding in the podcast. We'll be telling you our experience. I have nearly 15 years of experience in technology in data, and this is what we want to bring you that doesn't need to be that hard. What about for you, Arjun? What is your why?
I think I feel the same way also, because a lot of people, like, there is a very big myth around data that it is only related to IT, but data covers everything. Like, it is in all the industries. Data is everywhere. If you're a person, you have your data, right? Your name, your age, your date of birth, everything is your data. So we have data that is in all the industries, in all the sectors, from a kid to a senior level employee. Everybody is dealing with data some way or the other. And our purpose from this podcast is basically to simplify data for everyone. So that is, I think, why this podcast exists. And for me, it is like sort of a medium to give back to the community. We have been on this journey. We have been dealing with data. I am from testing background, so I deal with data a lot. So so this is a sort of a way of giving back to the community, and maybe on the way making things simpler for our listeners, our audience. Even if they can grab one thing out of one topic, that is like a win-win for us, right? We have helped one person.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that is the reason for me why this podcast exists, to help that one person. Yeah, cool. That was good. That was good
That
to
is
know.
beautiful. That is beautiful, Arjun.
Thanks.
I'm totally on you with this to
Yeah.
giving a little bit back to the community. And
Yes.
also, I've been engaging with a lot of students, people jump into the tech world, and it's such a times of anxiety and uncertainty.
Yeah.
And so I hope this podcast, it will help to bring these people into the discussion. So thank you very much, Arjun, for the intro, for the why. And I would like to hear now, what is your journey in data? What is your, tell me about your experience generally in tech, and then how you think that you are narrowed down into data.
Yeah. So not just in data, I'll tell you the whole journey.
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
we've already talked about it, but yeah, for the listeners, the so I was, before moving to New Zealand, I was working in banking and finance sector in India. I did my post graduation from Pune and then got a campus placement. I was working in a microfinance company for 1 year before I moved to another home loans company in India. It's a big name, HDFC, and I worked there for 2 years, and then I was like, you know what? Let's take a break. Let's start everything from scratch and move to a new country. Leave my job behind. Leave my cushy, comfortable life behind, and let's struggle a little. So I came to New Zealand. I enrolled in postgraduate diploma in business information systems from University of Canterbury, Christchurch.
How many
Did my,
years was that?
the post graduation was for 2 years.
In
So
what, in which year?
in
Sorry.
it was in 2018, September 2018. I landed in New Zealand, Christchurch, and started my post graduation from university, UC. Then, as soon as just as I graduated, COVID happened, and we were like, shit, this is bad, because the job market crashed and everybody was struggling to find a job after graduating, right? So
Mhm.
people were literally moving back to their home countries, because they wouldn't risk it. They've invested so much money, so much time, and it is a foreign country, it is a new country, and we don't have any safety net here. So that is why most of the people were like going back to their home countries where they had their families. I decided to stay. I took some part-time jobs here and there. I worked night fills, but yeah, eventually I got to know about a company who provides internships. So I joined that, is because when you're a migrant in a new country, in whatever country you are, and you're fresh out of college and you're looking for jobs, most of the times companies, prefer somebody who has local experience. And even though you have experience back in your country, it is not considered local. So, and I personally had no experience in tech because I was in banking, right? So I had no experience as a data analyst or a BA or a test analyst, whatever. In tech industry, I had no experience. So I joined this internship. I worked as a data analyst for 7 to 8 months. It was, yeah, about eight months of internship there, as a data analyst and BI developer. So I was working with that company, gaining the New Zealand experience, and then eventually I started when start market started to get better and there were opportunities in the market. I started applying. I got this role as a graduate test engineer, test analyst, with the company that I'm currently with. I applied there. It was a 10-day process, got selected, and joined that company as a graduate test analyst. And today I'm working with them as a senior test analyst. It will be 5 years next year, in April. So it's 4+ years for me now. But that's been my journey. And along the way, I have worked on different clients because it is a consultancy. So we work with different clients. We've worked with healthcare, we've worked with insurance, we've worked with the public sector companies, like any, you name it, big names in New Zealand. I've worked on multiple projects, and I have seen how data flows from one flow to another. And yeah, that has been my journey with data, and it's going so well. It's going great, I think, as of now. But enough about me. What about you? You tell us your journey, your story.
Thank you for sharing, Arjun. I think it looks pretty much similar to many of us starting to live in New Zealand. This is something that everyone asks for, which is the local experience. That when you start to live here, is super hard to acquire something because you're just begging for getting some experience, some exposure. But it's a bit hard at the moment because you need to build your whole community again. But I hope this podcast also can bring the community across. So if we can create a group in the future, will be great because we can share experience and also we can shadow other people who are jumping into another project. So thank you for sharing that. On my note, I think that data is something that I never knew that I was working on, but I've been working in data for so long. And I just realized when I got it like a role in data. I am an electronic engineer. I work as an entrepreneur for many years, nearly 10 years. I have my own business. I have different sort of roles during my business. I work in sales, I work in importing, I work in product design, I work in software development, I work in firmware developer, and different kind of things that involve coding, for example. However, when I moved to New Zealand, same year than you, I moved to New Zealand in 2018. My last role back in Chile, I used to sell industrial networking devices for companies. So I work a lot as a technology advisor. All right. When I moved to New Zealand, I started to work as a security technician. That kind of work that required me for installed cameras, like a security cameras, and set up servers, but basically focus in industrial sector, for example, for warehouses, supermarkets, banks, and so on. And then I have the great opportunity, someone invited me to join one of the most recognized New Zealand banks. And I'm being able to join this company where blew my mind for the opportunities that I got here. I work as a security architect for nearly 2 years, electronic security architect, which means that I used to design where the security cameras have to go in a branch, for example, in the corporate office. And then COVID came as well. And I think COVID forced ruled our life in a different way for everyone in technology.
Yeah.
And during COVID, I decided I need to go a lot to sites, visit customers and visit stakeholders. So I will dream that I have a job that will allow me to work at least one day from home. And then I was either going to cybersecurity or either go to data.
Yeah.
And I think that I couldn't decide better going to data. I study micro-credential, which is a 6-month course funded by New Zealand government, which was amazing and didn't have to pay a penny.
Nice.
And then within the time, I start to realize, wow, actually I know a lot of data. Like, for example, they start to teach me Python. I really knew other programming languages that it could be transferred, this skill. And then I realized there is something called transferable skills that helps you a lot when you move to a different role, because you say, I'm new in data, I need to start as a junior. However, I have the chance to start as an intermediate. In the bank, they gave me opportunity to start in the middle level. Yeah. And after a year of hard work and also being curious, I would say, they moved me to senior. And now I'm senior data specialist, but I got the great opportunity to create an internal course of data and Power BI specifically to train all the seniors and all the intermediate levels data analysts at the bank.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing opportunity because it helped me to bring everyone in the discussion, because data is changing constantly, technology is changing constantly, and bringing everyone the opportunity to upskill and renovate the skills has been such a great journey, and I just feel happy to have those kind of opportunities. And I think that is me in the journey of data. I use data since I start. I use data when I go for a journey. I go data when I need to buy flight tickets. I use data to do consultancy for business. I use data just for everything. I think data, as you say, is everywhere.
It's everywhere. Exactly. Yep. Well, thanks for sharing your journey, Ramon. It was really insightful and inspiring. Good to know that you already have a course in your company that you created. Well, that's a big one. Congrats on that. So so what are do we want to give a sneak peek of what's coming next? What to expect? Maybe a couple of topics that we might cover in the future.
I think that it will be great. What to expect in this podcast is to bring topics like we will be talking what is Databricks, and if I don't know what is Databricks, I will tell you what is no or what I think is like, and if you Arjun knows what it's about, he will explain what is for him, which is bringing different kind of technologies. We'll be speaking about tools used for data. We'll be using about technologies. We'll be talking about trending topics like GPT-5 just been released recently by ChatGPT. So the intention is to having those kind of conversation to speak about data tools, but with a tone of not a really formal way to explain this technology, not with a presentation. You won't see a PowerPoint. Probably will share one picture or two, but the idea is to bring this into a conversation. That is you will be able to see on this podcast. But we are technology agnostic, which means that we won't be speaking only about Microsoft. We won't be speaking only about Google. So we'll be trying to cover all the areas and the competitiveness of those areas, these brands, and we'll be able even to compare, like what do you think about the cloud solution from Microsoft in comparison with Google. So for now, we don't have a sponsors, so we will be agnostic and being able to look for any type of technology.
Yeah. Now I was about to say that because we'll be comparing and comparing different tools and different technologies, I wanted to point out that these podcast episodes are not sponsored at the moment. So whatever we say, whichever we like, this is our own personal experience and personal choice or personal recommendation. It doesn't mean that we are being paid to say that this brand is good and this brand is not. So yeah, it's not a review. And also you mentioned yeah, it is very correct. The format of this podcast is just a casual conversation. It is not a classroom teaching session. So no, we won't be going too much in details of, what codes to use, what lines to write, something like that. It's just a conversation that two people are having. And maybe we hope that our listeners, gain something from these conversations. But yeah, so that is the preview of our podcast, the Data Over Coffee, and we'll see you in the next one, I guess. Do you want to say something, Ramon, before we...
I would like to, before we cut, I would like you to ask. No, I would like ask you.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most useful tool for you in data?
Oh man, that's a big question. What do I think is the most useful tool in data?
For you?
For me, for my role that I'm currently in, I would still consider Excel to be number one. Why? Because I deal with a lot of people in team, and not everybody has knowledge of how Power BI works, how the extract, transform, load works in Power BI, the DAX queries and stuff like that. But everybody is across Excel. Everybody knows how to use Excel. So when I'm working with a team, when I'm sharing or manipulating data in Excel, they know what I'm doing, right? When I'm creating reports in Excel, they can look at the report and they know where the data is coming from, what the fields are saying, what it is representing. They know the story behind it, and they have access and knowledge of Excel. Like I said, not everybody is um, familiar with the higher tools, I would say, Power BI or Visio or Tableau or whichever one you want to use.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, for me at the moment in my current role, Excel would be the number one tool, because it not only uh, fulfills my requirement of the tasks that I want to do, but it
Mhm.
also helps others to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Yeah. And
Excel then.
yeah, Excel then. So same question for you. What tool is your number one tool for data?
I think Excel is important, but the one that I really love and I try to use it wherever that I have the opportunity is Python.
Oh yeah.
Python is my superpower, I will
Yes,
say, in terms of data analytics.
of course.
And for that reason, also, I would like you to tell you what it will be in our next episode. And we'll be starting with Python, which is one of the most useful tools in data. You doesn't need to be expert in Python. You can be beginner in Python, intermediate in Python, and advanced in Python. So you will see how versatile it is and how much we can do with that. So that will be our next episode. I will let you to close this podcast, Arjun. So if you can do the the close. Thank you very much,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thanks, Ramon. So yeah, that is what's coming next. Python is our next episode. So we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ramon, for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good
Thank you
day.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.